What's going on? This is your man Big Stu, Scott Stewart, or Professor Stewart, depending on how you know me, and we are back for another edition of Dope People, where we highlight dope people that do dope things, and we are not letting you down. We have another special edition. Mr. Bryan Pope is here with us today on Dope People, yo. Bryan Pope is here. All right. Hey, look. Good morning, B. How you doing, bro?
Good morning. I'm good. I'm good, Scott.
That's
And I
what's
call,
up.
I call you Professor Scott.
Hey man, Big Stu, Professor Stewart,
Big
Scott
Stu.
Stewart. Depends on how you know me, man. It's all up to you, man. So that's what's up. Listen, I want to introduce the people to you. So first of all, you are an inspirational recording artist and songwriter, right? And you're also a Chicago Public Schools teacher and Chicago's voice of hope. We're going to tap into that in a minute. But you're also a seventh grade English language arts gen ed teacher, ELA teacher, right? Gen ed teacher, right? But you do some amazing things in education. And that's why you're on Dope People today. You were recommended. I did a post on Facebook, said I'm looking for dope black male educators to talk to. Your name came through. You responded. And so I gave you the invite, and now we're here. So I love the fact that you moved on that. But before we get into all of that, what I want to do, as we always do here on Dope People, is we do a round of this or that. Are you familiar with this or that, brother?
Yeah, and we do it with my students. You've done it with the students. Yeah, I'm very familiar with it.
All right, all right, all right. So that's what we're
Oh,
about
yeah,
to do.
yeah.
Say it again. Say it again.
It's very engaged, and the kids love
Very. Yeah.
it.
So we're gonna do a special Bryan Pope edition.
All right, let's
We're
do
gonna
it.
do a music based. There's gonna be some normal stuff, the stuff that we normally do here on Dope People. We're gonna throw in some more music in there today too.
All right.
And the first one, we coming out the bag with it, bro.
Okay, let's do it. Let's come out the bag.
90s R&B or 90s rap.
Oh, R&B. I'm a 90s R&B guy. It R&B influenced me more than anything. I love the rap and I'm a rapper, but even in listening to my music, it's all melodic and it comes from 90s R&B.
90s R&B it is.
90s
All right.
R&B.
All right. Radio or satellite.
Oh man. Wow. I've never thought about this. I don't really listen to satellite, so I would
Wow.
say radio. I'm not familiar with that with satellite radio.
Sirius, Shady Radio, Shade 45, Sway in the
Oh, I
morning.
love them. Oh,
They
oh,
all that's all satellite. They do, the
oh,
XM,
satellite.
satellite, no commercials versus like
Satellite,
GTI.
satellite.
Okay, all
My
right,
bad.
all right, yeah, yeah,
Satellite, satellite.
all right. Here we go. We got another one for you. This or that. This or that. Digital or analog?
Ooh, it depends on if I'm making the music. Um, I like I like analog. I like the sound of analog. Um, man, it depends on the style. It depends on the style. It depends on the vibe, the tempo. It it varies. So I would have to say if it's me enjoying and listening to it, I would probably say digital.
Okay.
Yeah, I would probably say digital. But I love the richness of analog. I use it. Um, yeah,
All
but I
right.
would have to go with digital for a listening preference. Can I throw these back at you or
No,
no?
no, this ain't about me,
All
brother.
right, all right,
No,
my
no, no,
bad.
sir. No,
Okay.
sir. No, you may
I
not.
want
No,
to know.
you,
I just want to know. All right,
no, you may not. This is
all
this
right,
is
sir.
about you right now.
All right. I fall back, man. I fall back. This is how fun it be in the class.
um, read or write?
Ooh, 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 ooh. Read,
Okay.
read.
Library or museum?
Library or museum?
Mm-hmm.
Library.
Mm-hmm.
Library.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Night on the town or night at home?
Night at home.
Hmm.
Night at home.
Talk or listen?
Listen. Listen. I think I do more listening than talking. Listen.
I find that hard to believe for educators, man. I know teachers
No, yeah,
you
that
talk.
really
Huh?
over the past 7 years, that honestly, that was one of my critiques as a early educator, stealing the student's voice, right? And I
Mm.
had to I've become better as the years, you know, as I've gotten deeper in my education years, I've become better at allowing them to talk and them figuring out the answers. So I'm okay in that spot. I think I'm pretty good at listening around right about now. Yeah.
Text message or call?
Oh my God. Everything is circumstantial. It's all relative, right?
You're supposed to
Like,
just be going with the gut, man. The first ones that
right,
roll
right.
off. Don't be trying to get the right answer, man. Come on, you're supposed to be
Call.
just hitting it, bro.
Hit it. All right. Call.
God, pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Teachers or parents?
Uh parents. 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 That's my focus. Yeah.
Parents or principals?
Parents. Parents.
Okay. All right, let's wrap this thing up, man. You doing great, by the way, man. You doing great, man. You doing great. I ain't gonna hold you, man. Fire or ice?
Ice.
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 Soft shell or hard shell? Tacos.
Oh, soft shell.
Soft shell.
And flour, not corn.
Flour, not corn. All right. All right, last one, man. Last one. HBCU or PWI?
Oh my God. Come on. HBCU.
I lied. That wasn't the last one. Shout out to the HBCUs out there. I'm swag all day. Who ain't swag? Um, Love or money, bro?
Oh, love.
Love.
Love. Oh, love.
Shout out to Mr. Pope. You survived around and listen to that on Dope People, dog. Great, man. You was on it, man. You was on it. There's a couple of them that you were really kind of thinking about, man. One that stuck out with me was teachers or parents, and you were like, for sure, parents. You said that's what you focused on. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that it's important. I mean, especially as a parent, you know, have to learn how to become take initiative in my children's education and their lives, and I know the effort that you have to put in, and oftentimes, you know, we don't get that, and so. The focus is for me on the parents because we all have to learn how to become more involved in our students and our children's in their educational lives. And I mean, you know, I can be criticized for that too. Do I give my all? Like, am I in tune with everything that my child is learning? Like, no, I'm not. You know, and I know that I can be more. And so it's just an encouragement to the parents that the teachers are not just the ones teaching your kid. You know, once you put them and trust them in our hands, there's a relationship that has to be nurtured with teachers and parents. Um, and so I highlight them, and they're always in my hearts and minds. That, you know, so I really want to focus on them all the time. You know, get them involved with different type of community initiatives or whatever they need. Because in turn, if the parent is good, right, the kid gonna be good too.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's strong, brother. Hey, so tell us, man, like middle school, you teach seventh grade, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What kind of student were you, man? Like, who were you as a student?
um, as a sixth, as a middle schooler,
Middle school, high
I
school,
got
yeah.
middle school, high school. I had decent grades. I wouldn't say that I was the best student. Work typically came easy to me, but my work ethic wasn't the best.
Right.
But I did what I needed to do. And my mother, she was huge, and she was a huge influence with that. My mother's an ordained reverend in the AME Church, and education, faith and education were a priority, and so we were always making sure that we weren't embarrassing her or God.
Mm-hmm.
So I pretty much did the right thing. I didn't get into trouble. I didn't get in, not as a high school student. In my elementary years, I did some things outside. But in school, I pretty much respected my teachers. I did my assignments, most of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in high school, it was the same thing. I did my work. I developed friendships with the people around me, and I didn't get into much trouble. I stayed the course on trying to do well in high school and finish high school and graduate and get into college. So I was a pretty decent student. I wasn't a great student. I was
Mm-hmm.
decent though.
What did you go to school for education? Did you always know
I
you wanted to be a teacher? How did you wind up a teacher?
Man, no. Actually, I went to school for arts, entertainment, media management initially. I've been doing music since I was in like seventh, eighth grade, and I officially started recording my freshman year in high school. And it was all gospel rap. It wasn't inspirational at the time. It was gospel because I was in the church. My mother was in the church. So when I initially graduated, I didn't want to go to a university. I wanted to go to Columbia College in Chicago, and that's where I went for a year. It was too expensive, so I ended up leaving and then getting some odd jobs and finally realizing like I need to go back to school. Then I began to be immersed in Black culture. So I went to community college, Harold Washington. Then I dropped out, got back in, and then I went to a community college, College of Lake County. And that's when I became really immersed in Black studies. I was on a BSU, NAACP vice president, and did a radio show called Lifting People Up with the Voices of the Village. And then I was like, yo, I want to teach Black kids about Blackness and about the history of the diaspora and about the Black culture in the United States. And so I went to UIC and got my
Mm-hmm.
degree in African American
Oh
Studies, not
man, look
education.
at this.
Yeah, I got my degree in African American Studies, and I had a huge Professor Jahari Jabir, who is actually my mentor now. He comes to McNair and he teaches the kids. We collab. He's a professor at UIC and the head of the Department of African American Studies. So he comes in every other Friday. So we still have that relationship. The point is that I wanted to teach Black kids about Blackness, about their history, and so that's initially what led me to education. When I got there, I realized that the plight was deeper. That they
Mm-hmm.
that not only do they need to learn about their history, they need to learn how to read and how to write this or that, right? And so that's what led me here. Initially it just started off as simple Blackness, and then it became something deeper, something more, I feel, beneficial. So
I'm hopeful. I think this is an important conversation. I didn't see this coming. It's not like, and I'm gonna be very honest and very transparent. It's not like we're buddies and we knew each other long before
right.
this. We're literally, this is all off a referral. Somebody said you were dope. Um, I trusted that referral. You responded. We're here. This conversation is super important, particularly from a Black male's perspective. And I hope that you are able to share portions of this with your students,
Mhm.
because you said something, right? You were an average grade getter in school. Your path to degree was non-linear and
Mm-hmm.
untraditional.
Very much so.
Is that even the right word?
Non-traditional. Yeah.
Non-traditional, right? Right? Non-traditional, right? But I think what's super important before we dig into the rest of this conversation is understanding a couple of things. You as a black male, seventh grade, eighth grade, recording gospel music, having a mom that's a minister. What kind of pressure, peer pressure, if any, were you subject to, or if whether it was from outside or just internal? What kind of things were you telling yourself in eighth grade that, and then, that allowed you to even make gospel? Because I would imagine that wasn't popular at
No, it
the
wasn't.
time, and it probably wasn't. Was it accepted? Like, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So the thing is we, crazy. We got a lot of pushback from the church initially because it was new. I remember a
Just the
group
simple fact that you rapping is what you mean, huh?
rapping in the church.
Rapping in the church.
Rapping in the church. But that's the history of gospel music. Kirk Franklin wasn't accepted. The gospel wasn't accepted. Contemporary Christian music wasn't accepted. And over time, as generations, passed, people began to accept more. And that Christian rap is like huge. But when we were doing it, around the time where Grits and Cross Movement and The Truth, these different artists from over East, it was not accepted. And there were some people who allowed us to share the gift. Pastor passed away, the Ebenezer, Smokey Norfolk. He was our choir director for some time, and I was allowed to share that space with him. And so there were some people who allowed the music to happen, but oftentimes it wasn't accepted, but it didn't deter because it was always a part of who I was. The music had always been a part of who I was, and so. But my peers, oh, man, it was music to them. They were like, "Man, you dope, you rapping."
Okay, that's good.
you
So that
know,
probably gave you some additional confidence, or the confidence you needed.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't all bad. I did get discouraged sometimes because of the newness, what gospel rap was at the time in the early 2000s. Actually 2000 in 2000. Um, but there were people who gave me the space. One of my mentors, Dana Stevens, he was from Southern Minnesota, and I used to travel around the Midwest, going from church, block party, community events, right? Stop the violence events in different communities. I would do all of those things, even to the point of doing my anti-bullying song at school, at a couple of schools. And so people have provided and given me a space and a platform to be able to do this music that's not widely accepted.
Mm. Yeah, that's huge, brother. That's huge. Let's dig in, man. What, in your opinion, is dope for you about education and the work that you do? What's working for you in education?
What's working for me in education is my disposition works, my calmness, my patience, my relationship, I think, with the kids. I mean, let me foremost say that, I do have an advantage, right? Especially in the school that I teach, because I'm a Black male, right? And so because I'm a Black male, I come from a particular culture, right? I rap, I flip, I play ball at a high level, right? Dual dances. And so I think they see me and them in terms of my personality and the things that I can do, the culture, right? So I have an advantage there. But what really works for me is my ability to be personable with them and be calm with them and be patient with them and be fair with them and really love, man. Like
Mm.
in my room, it's just a vibe. There are waterfalls, there's greenery, there are lights, LED stars at the top. I really create um, a, a a vibe for the room. And it starts there. That works for me. The calmness that that they enter into. And then, the respect and the love. It's mutual love. It's mutual respect. And
Mm-hmm.
I talk to a colleague of mine oftentimes, and we say, one of the things that we approach students with is, do I treat you like that? I don't do that to you. And because my integrity in that room is so high, right, that they, when they reflect, they have to settle down, because they know that every interaction they have with me is through love and respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that alone, they work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they apologize to me. They catch themselves even through their impulsive behaviors, and they do that because of who I am and the space that I create for them. And that's not even getting to the academics, right? The reading
Mm-hmm.
and the writing, because those skills and strategies also work. The engagement works. But more than anything, it's the space that they enter in and who I am in front of them.
Um, I would imagine. Where's your school? What neighborhood is your school
Austin,
in?
Austin,
So
Cicero.
you're in Austin. You're on Cicero West Side, out west. You out west. It's the difference between being West Side and being out west.
Out west, yeah.
You out west. Um, are there a lot of black male teachers in your building? Teachers, not seekers, not security.
I'm the only one. It was, well, when I first got there, I was the only one, and then we hired an art teacher, but he left last year, so he was there for about 3 years, and so currently, I'm the only one.
What are some of your challenges or frustrations with education? What's like keeping you up at night or pissing you off about education?
I think that the and the focus on, well, the focus on, I think the politics, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. One of the things is the politics behind it, the things that we need to do for data and for funds. I think that oftentimes it's not just being able to be in a space and teach kids and learn and grow over time. The demand for change is immediate. The demand for impact is immediate. It's not one plants, one waters, God provides the increase. It's plant, water, God, boom, all in one type of thing. And we talk about it as we plant seeds. We plant seeds. And I think because they need numbers and they need numbers for funds, they put a lot of pressure on educators, and don't allow things to, I mean, I get it that there has to be a metric. I understand that. But this is why some of us tap out, because the expectations are unreasonable oftentimes, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And it's a thankless job. The onus is always on the educator. What can you do? What can you do? Oftentimes. And, we, as an educator, I think that that's an issue. That's why the turnover rate is so high. It's not sustainable in that way. Um, I think that would be the main issue that I have. Other than that, I don't really have issues. I'm immersed in that space, and I'm connected with those shorties, and and we love each other, period, point blank. They revere me and who I am. And so that alone overrules it outweighs the difficulties for me. It outweighs the politics, you know.
That's a good segue into. I heard you talk about creating the vibe in the classroom.
Mhm.
You got to like sounds like you got a sanctuary of sorts in your space. So
Yeah.
having said that, as we think about education going forward, we're in the post-pandemic era. We had a fallout. Schools
Right.
were shut down. Kids were forced to shift their learning modalities. Teachers were forced to shift their distribution of education, and
Right.
so what's the future of education need to be and look like from your perspective? If you had it your way, what would be the dopest educational environment for you?
I think that, well, foremost, the vibe. I think that um, the classroom environment and the aesthetics of the room is essential. I think that I think that that should be a standard. I mean, I think that educators should want to create a certain vibe in their room for the kids to connect to. And I see a lot of that like really happening. I mean, in our building, and when I talk to other educators, it's seemingly moving in that way with vibes in the room, for lack of better words. But I think that in addition to that, we see SEL being really important and essential. And I think that the future of education, I think that it's promising, especially because we're trying to focus on the whole child right now through social emotional learning. We realize that that is a priority. When I was in school, it was not. We just had a PD and we talked about that the other day. It wasn't about how you feel. Do that work. And now we're tapping into realizing that students are people, right? That they have feelings and emotions that need to be regulated, and that alone is going to elevate the school experience. I wish that there were um, more engaging curriculums. And I say that because I started a boys mentoring program at the school called Emerging Kings. And one of my students, who is super bright, but always like he's falling asleep, he's high level, he came to Emerging Kings and we started talking about like fundraising, and we started talking about social identity and which social identities you connect with more, you spend time thinking about more. Is it your race? Is it your ethnicity? Is it your gender? And we start having those conversations. He told me this is the best this is the best time I ever had in school.
Wow. Wow.
In that space. I taught third, I taught fifth, I taught seventh. And this student I've taught twice. So he's had me. All of the learning that we've had, that day was the best day for him. And I think that's a lens, and that's like a hint that we have to do more things like that in the space, because that's what's engaging the kids. And it's life. Why are we not teaching them about life, right? About
Realities of it.
about reality, about how to interact with people. I mean, we were just talking about, hygiene. We were talking about how many
Stuff that's
times.
just not normal conversation in the house because parents is busy doing other stuff, and
Yeah,
it's hard to have these conversations. It's so much to cover.
so much.
Yeah, that's
And so,
phenomenal.
yeah, yeah. So I feel like if we could incorporate bits and pieces of that with the vibe, so SEL, right? Real practical learning on top of the vibe, SEL, practical learning. Of course, with academics, that'll never stop, because kids need to learn how to analyze text. They need to learn how to look at text with different lenses, the code words, right? Do math. They need to learn those things, but they also need the practical education as well. Talking about what you like to cook, how many you cook, how many you do chores, because it's a requirement that every man in that mentor program do chores at their house, right? So, it's the whole child. It's the whole child.
Man, this is dope, bro. How does your music career play into your classroom, if at all? Is there any connection between your music and what you're doing in the classroom?
Well, it's a connection between like the content, because what I write about is my first album attacks the self-awareness and self-management parts of the social emotional competency guide. So it's all about, self-love, regulating emotions, managing emotions, looking into self and being inspired by self, and the people that are around you, right? So that that is where the music connects to the classroom. I am in the process of creating a songwriting program that looks at text structure and literary elements and teaches kids how to write music through that. So I have this space where I'm creating something that you know, Common Core state standards and those strategies that kids have to learn in the classroom, to use those to begin to write poems and music. And I haven't rolled it out yet, but I will be. The kids know about the music. I think the connection is that my music is based off of social emotional learning. And so when they listen to the music, they get insight to what it looks like to persevere, what it looks like to continue to follow your dreams, what it looks like to continue to have hope and be optimistic and learn about yourself and not be hard on yourself, and realize that life is about growth and progress and forward movements. And that when we make errors and mistakes, we can try to turn them around if we are reflective enough. And so that's where the connection between the classroom and the music plays a role, because the music is really written for people and to elevate. And I want to elevate the young people. You know what I mean? One of my students, when they heard it and I played my music video, he was like, "Man, thank you, Mr. Pope, for really blessing our ears." You know? Yeah.
Wow, that's heavy, man. It's like you got some amazing students over there too.
I do. They so dope. They're so dope, man. They are so
We
dope.
need to hear that. We need to hear that, man.
Yeah, no, they are, and you just have to give them that space and opportunity. And you have to be patient, but you also have to represent love, and you have to,
There you go.
embody it. You have to speak to them a certain way with kindness and calmness and poise, right? And not take things so personal, realizing that a lot of the behaviors are impulsive. Like even when kids may curse or say the N word in the room, you realize, for me, it's like that's a part of the culture. That's what they're immersed in. So we got to represent something different. That's why we talk about positivity begets positivity, because they oftentimes go home and then are around the environment. Even from school, you go out after we leave school, you see they walk through the neighborhoods, and walking through the neighborhoods, everybody's at home at the library studying or at home reading, y'all chilling. And so who's guiding you? Who's influencing you? Right? And if we are that, we'll see their dopeness, because they will mirror that. You know what I mean? They are dope. They are like naturally dope. It's just where the guidance, you know.
Man, it's phenomenal, man. We've covered a lot of topics, and we scratched the surface on a few things. But is there anything else that you want listeners? We're in 39 countries. We're all over the United States. Anything else you want people to know about you or about your work? Any message that you want to convey that you want us, the general public, your peers of educational leaders, to understand about you as a black male teacher, or just the students that you serve and the communities that you serve? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, oftentimes people, ask, I mean, I've been asked, why am I still here? And I tell them, man, I ain't going nowhere. This is it. We are a social being, right? If we're not elevating, we interact with people all the time. And if we're not elevating them, then what are we doing? To ourselves, it's just not about us, right? Because we'll be gone soon, right? So how can we truly and genuinely impact the people around us, elevate the people around us? And it really starts with looking at self and how we can be better, reflecting on ourselves, how we can be better to ourselves and grow in the areas that we need to grow, so that we can really elevate people around us. That's the message for me. That's my life's work. I've always it's what I've always been immersed in from my mother, you know, growing up in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not like crazy religious, but I love God. And I know that God wants to heal the land and restore people. And so, and that's what elevation is, right? Um, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the piece right there. From my music to being an educator, it's really just about elevating people and wanting to see everybody win, because everybody can win.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can win, like for real, for real. Everybody can reach their goals, can live in their passions, uh and can thrive.
Mm-hmm.
But we all just need a little guidance. And we all need to be over a PD. We just went through the other day. Win-win. You and me in this situation, we both win. How can we both win? And that's really what it's about, you know. And so, from my yeah, that's from my music to the classroom. It's elevation.
Yeah, yeah. Where can the people find you, man? If they want to hear your music, or are you on any social media? Like, where can they find you?
Definitely. So you can find me on IG and Facebook at Mr. Pope Music. So that's the handle. You can go to YouTube. I mean, I'm streaming. You could check out the album. The album is called Who I Am, a Self-Love Project. And you can check that out on all streaming platforms. You can go to YouTube and watch the music video, powerful music video called Listen. And you can download the music from or listen to the music on YouTube as well. And that's where I'm at. Other than that, you come to Austin, come and check
Yeah,
in. You know, you want to come and visit, you know, speak to the kids.
yeah.
We can always you can find me on the west side.
Find you on the west side. Find you out west.
West, out west.
Find you out west. Well,
Yes.
man, listen, we're gonna have you back for sure, because we gotta hear from you. We love you. We support you and the work that you do. You are officially dope stamped by dope people.
Yes,
You
sir.
didn't need that because you were already dope before we found you. But you got our stamp of approval, man. We love you, B. We appreciate you, Mr. Pope Music, and we can't wait to hear the updates about how your kids are doing, brother.
Thank you, Big Stu, man. I appreciate you. Love you too, man. Thank you for the work that you're doing and highlighting dope people. You know, this is the positivity that we need. These are the conversations that we need to have to elevate everybody. You know, this is inspiring, and people will look at the work that you do and how you're lifting up people. It's just super cool.
Well, gratitude, gratitude, and all of your contact information. The contact information for Bryan Pope will be in the show notes and on our YouTube notes, so you'll have every opportunity to connect with him and his music. To all of our followers here at the Dope People Podcast, we appreciate you staying with us. You already know what it is. Until next time, peace.
Peace.